3 a.m. You're awake. Again, your heart's pounding like you just ran a marathon in your sleep. Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. The devil is terrified of what happens when you're awake at 3 a.m. because Jesus woke up early too. And look what he accomplished. In the next 8 minutes, I'm giving you 3 weapons that will turn your 3 a.m. wake-up from spiritual attacks into divine appointments. But here's the catch. If you don't use these tonight, you'll wake up tomorrow feeling the same defeated, anxious mess you are right now. See, I'm about to prove to you why 80% of Christians are handling these wake-ups completely wrong. Look at how most believers respond. God, please help me get back to sleep. I have a big day tomorrow. Please calm my mind. That's not prayer. That's panicking with religious words. Your choice. Keep panicking or learn what spiritual warriors actually do at 3 a.m. Thing number 1, the 30-second prayer. So here's the first weapon you need to master. When your eyes open at 3 a.m., I mean the first thing you do, don't grab your phone. Don't check the clock. Don't start that mental hurricane about tomorrow's problems. Instead, speak this out loud. Devil, you messed with the wrong child of God tonight. Then immediately follow with, Father, you woke me up. What do you want to show me? Now, here's exactly why this simple technique works so powerfully. Between 3 to 5 a.m., your flesh is quiet. Your ego is sleeping. Your defenses are down. This is when God can download revelation without competing with your Netflix addiction, your social media scroll, your endless distractions. But Satan knows this truth too. So the second your eyes open, he floods your mind with worry, bills you can't pay, relationships that are falling apart, health scares that keep you up, that embarrassing thing you did years ago that still makes you cringe. That's not random anxiety. That's calculated warfare. Think about this for a moment. Why 3 a.m.? Why not 7 p.m. when you're tired anyway? Why not noon when you're busy? Because 3 a.m. is when your spirit is most receptive, when the noise of the world is silent, when God has been waiting all day to finally get your undivided attention. The enemy knows that if you learn to meet with God in these hours, you'll become unstoppable in daylight. So he tries to hijack these sacred moments with panic instead of prayer. This is exactly what happened to Hannah in the Bible. She was desperate for a child, but instead of praying during the day when everyone else was praying, she chose to pour out her heart to God in the temple when it was quiet, when no one else was around. 1 Samuel 1 verse 13 says, Hannah was speaking in her heart. Only her lips moved and her voice was not heard. That's raw, honest midnight level prayer. And you know what? God heard her. He answered her. The same thing happens when you pray first instead of panic first. You get revelation instead of agitation. You get solutions instead of sleepless spirals. But most Christians skip this step because they want to get back to sleep quickly. Here's the hard truth. God didn't wake you up so you could go back to sleep. He woke you up so you could wake up spiritually. Which brings me directly to the second weapon you absolutely must have ready. Thing number 2, the scripture sword. You need 1 verse memorized and ready to fire. Not 10 verses, not a whole chapter. 1 verse that you can quote in your underwear at 3 a.m. with bedhead and morning breath. Here's mine. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against me in judgment I shall condemn. Isaiah 54 verse 17. When that 3 a.m. panic hits, you speak that verse out loud. Loud enough that your spouse might wake up. Loud enough that your neighbors might think you've lost it. Now you might be wondering, why out loud? Here is the spiritual reality. Demons are real. They have ears, and they need to hear you claim God's promises over your life. Your mind might be foggy at 3 a.m., but your spirit is razor sharp. This is when you can hear God's voice clearest. When he can show you things about your future, your calling, your breakthrough that he can't show you at 2 p.m. when you're stressed about deadlines and drowning in emails. But here's the mistake most people make. They try to have a 30-minute Bible study at 3 a.m. Wrong move. You're not teaching Sunday school. You're in a spiritual war zone. You need quick draw scripture. Fast, powerful, memorized. Think of David facing Goliath. He didn't pull out a scroll and start reading. He reached for his sling and fired. That's what your memorized verse is. It's your sling. And speaking of David, This connects perfectly to something most Christians completely misunderstand about these midnight wake-ups. Here's what your pastor probably never told you. 3 a.m. isn't the devil's hour. It's God's hour that the devil is trying to steal. Every great move of God happened in the dark hours. Moses received the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai in darkness.